Oh, yeah. Welcome back, people of the internet. People of the world. Hello. It's good to see everybody tonight. Hello, hello, hello. We're back for day 298, case day 298 of Jack and Lily Sullivan. And we've gotten so far. We've come so far since what we were told on May the 2nd. The things that I can't get out of my mind are the efforts by way of Janie McKenzie specifically to provide some sort of alibi. And she, I feel, has been fairly outspoken. And she continues to be outspoken to this very day. Most recently in Mike Demand's Facebook DMs. With all of these messages where she's... what did somebody call it? Where you're lying and crying at the same time? A lie cry? It is so amazing to see somebody bawl like a cartoon character into a private message alongside all of this information. I never, to this extent in this situation, never have I seen it. We've all had people in our lives that have been overly dramatic. Maybe you've been overly dramatic from time to time. But I cannot get over just how poorly performed Janie's, how poorly Janie's performing in what it is she's trying to get across. She couldn't even carry on as though they were having a normal conversation. Because there was no connection. There was no real attempt by Janie. She's just more tuned at this point to go into her script, if you want to call it that. I hate using that term, but it's this performative script that she gave the RCMP as to her and where exactly she was when whatever it is she's referring to happened, of course. Brian Sutherland, good to see you. I appreciate you, house music. Janie, you need to tell the RCMP what happened. You can't keep carrying on like this. Is this how you were for the RCMP? Is this how you were during your polygraph examination? Not like it matters. Hate polygraphs. People always misinterpret it as though it's supposed to be like a magic button to solving all their problems. We don't need that fucking thing to see the lies here. But just because somebody's lying doesn't mean that you can put two and two together and solve the case just like that. The good news is it's just not it's not one particular lie, although it all comes back to the same reason. They're lying to protect themselves from what's going to happen when law enforcement and others find out what they did to Jack and Lily. There's a reason that they called this into the RCMP and straight up, or let me remind you, lied to them in the first 3 lines in their report, in their description of the children. They've been planting seeds, and they were planting seeds with the RCMP as soon as they called. My favorite point scenario at this point in time, of course, is Justin Smith and Bradley Wong's eyewitness account on the evening of May the 1st into May the 2nd, 2025. From the road just in behind Garlock Road, they sit higher about a treetops. They look outside their back window at treetop level. It goes down into a gully, then up into the highway, and then over to 1207 Garlock, which they can easily see all kinds of activity, vehicular activity, going on between the hours of 12 and 4. 4+ trips. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you very much, darling. I appreciate your super chat. I very much appreciate your super chat. What happened to Jack and Lily? They know what it is they don't want to talk about, all of the important factors, because after all, this should be Jack and Lily centric in that sense. And they're the only ones that need reminding of that, by the way. What sort of lives, or what were their lives like in that trailer at 1207 Garlock Road? I think it's 1207. I think that's the number. Anyway, Garlock Road, we'll call it. Janie and Daniel's place. He's a major fucking idiot, by the way. What a couple of clowns. Malay is doing the right thing in this sense. Is it 1407? Yeah, I know where it is. Oh, you just found this channel, Marcia? Well, welcome. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that very much. In the back transcribed, I've got Janie's statements, and I can't get them out of my head. They're like little tongue twisters that you read in the cartoon section of your newspaper at lunch break. Like the mind teasers. the daily brain teaser. These statements by Janie, we've heard them, and man, oh man, it's bad. Not only does she, it's 1407. Okay, guys, thanks. Why did I say 1207? I don't know. Sorry, 1207. Hopefully there's not a 1207. Oh, shit. She's talking about Janie's statement, talking about this other piece of land that she owned. I do own another piece of land. This is what Janie's saying. But the land that I own is between my exes and my brothers. It is 7 acres, and there is no water. It's not by the ocean, up by anything. There's no brook in it. There's no water at all on it. So if you go to Google Maps, you will find the place of land between my exes, which is Daniel and Justin's father, and my brothers. And that would be on the Lansdowne Road, not the Lansdowne Station Road. Repeat, the Lansdowne Road. And to correct Haley and whoever else, the piece of blanket was found on the Lansdowne Road, not the Lansdowne Station Road. I cannot answer questions about that blanket because I was not here when it was supposed to be found. Well, it's interesting that she spoke on it all kinds of times, you know, at any other juncture. You're the one who helped Danny put it in the garbage. Remember there, honey baby? I cannot answer questions about the blanket because I was not here when it was supposed to be found. I'm just hearing where she said it was. I'm correcting her that it was the Lansdowne Road. The only time that I was here to have any part of the blanket was when the cops, the RCMP, came here and asked about the blanket to Daniel. Daniel and Justin went to the garage and showed the RCMP officers the rest of the blanket. And I can vouch for the blanket being put in the garbage because I seen the day that Daniel put it in the garbage because I told him not to bag it too heavy. Didn't a second ago she tell you she can't speak on the blanket? What a fucking idiot. This is what you get with her. I told him not to bag it too heavy. Interesting how you guys are talking about cleaning up. Why is the blanket in the garbage to begin with? I told him not to bag it too heavy, so Daniel did not put the blanket in the garbage. Or he did put the blanket in the garbage. She says, I appreciate you guys asking me if there's anything that I need. No, there's not. How about a free ticket out of here? The only thing that I need is for people to stop their rumors and accusations because it's not helping anything. It is just making everybody's life miserable. Think about that. Think about that in light of Jack and Lily being gone. Like, cartoon writers don't even write it like this, Janie. You've got to put in some more context. I gave the investigators the same story that I'm telling you guys. Yeah, we can. We get it. Get out of my cupboards, you. I did not have anything to do with what Malaya. Oh, they almost slipped there, did you? I did not have anything to do with what Malaya, if Daniel has said or done. I've been holding this in for 2 months until Thursday when I gave my interview. The reason why I've been doing this is the investigators advised me not to speak to anybody because of their investigation. But it's been over 2 months now. I find the investigators are not telling us anything. They put only one report out since all this happened. They're not giving us any updates. I'm tired. I can't deal. Hey, what happened to the rest of it? It's cut off. The hell did the rest of it go? Just a second. Well, what's all this then? No, it didn't cut off. But I did lose my spot. Fuck. There's so much here. Oh, yeah. It's okay. It's all right. I'm going to clear up this thing about Belinda. Belinda said that she came and she said that I was crying and I blamed myself for it and that I wouldn't let police in my RV. Well, the reason why I was crying, Belinda, is I blamed myself for not getting up that morning and seeing the kids. So even she is pointing out here in her language that there's a difference even to her between getting up and hearing the kids and getting up and seeing the kids. That's fascinating. That's a fuck up. You blame yourself for not getting up that morning and seeing the kids, but you just went through this whole spiel of how you heard the kids outside playing. So which one is it? You didn't see the kids? Because whenever they're outside, I'm usually out there. I'm the one watching those kids. I watch those kids out in the yard every day. Man, that's a hell of a thing. A hell of a thing to sit there and claim as though we're supposed to give you some sort of sympathy when the kids are gone. And you're sitting there carrying on like an idiot. Even if the kids were outside every day of recent, you couldn't help not be out there with them because you live in an RV in the fucking driveway. You're the only one that walked out of that trailer on their own accord, honey. Jen Nova, good to see you. Malaya was doing her interview. She should have stated her mother-in-law heard the children. Not they were outside playing, but we didn't know that at the time. That's a big statement that sticks out to me. Because she's getting across that she needs you to believe the information without any actual evidence. So how did you come to the conclusion that the kids were outside playing? Who decided that for you, Malaya? The kids were outside and you just weren't aware of it at the time? Why don't you tell us what happened? You're drifting in and out of sleep. Listen, cut the bullshit. Where are the kids? It's probably what Haley was thinking at the end of the driveway. Everybody was thinking, cut the bullshit. Something's not right. Something's not right. And it had everything to do with that weirdo Janie that's looking and peering at you behind the trees and the RV. Not introducing herself to anybody. She has obvious contempt for Malaya's side of the family for whatever reason. That's a little off-putting. That stands out a bit. It stood out that day. Absolutely. These children didn't just vanish, Trail Hiker. And you can stick it into a generality and say children just don't disappear, just don't vanish. But in this specific situation, in light of how the parents are acting and behaving, it's obvious to the RCMP who's responsible. But on top of all of that, they've got to come out with this even more cockamamie absurd behavior and drawing sympathy from the public on their behalf to help themselves and their own ego. They're at home shitting over what absolute strangers think about them at any one time. It's affecting them. Like you don't have the decision to turn something off or not watch something. Janie's even using the term unalive. She can't stop watching YouTube. She used it second nature, almost by accident. Well, it was by accident. A helicopter grandma. Thank you very much for the super chat, darling. No, you are amazing. Oh, shit. I'm not that amazing. It's because I have... You got to put yourself in the right places to make yourself look good sometimes. Yeah, it's obvious to anyone that Malaya and her family and friends are guilty. Who wants to do the pleasure? Who wants to ban that motherfucker from my chat? Sweet Tea, do you want to ban Tracy Cook? Or are you being sarcastic? Are you being funny? Is that a haha joke? We don't have to worry. We don't have to worry at all about Malaya's side. Not at all. Malaya can tell us what happened after we figure it out. How do the three of you sleep at night, says Kim Elton. How can you do this to two little kids? In my opinion, you're all twisted and evil. Well, it all starts with Daniel rearranging Janie's life. It all starts with Daniel stalking chicks on Facebook dating, moving in with Malaya after 2 weeks. How long after that did she get knocked up? And it sounds like Ron McKenzie, whoever Janie's brother was on that message, sounds like he doesn't like kids to begin with. Just talking about how they need to ship the kids out and get rid of them. Have you guys gotten rid of enough kids already? None, Mayflower. We can't handle the truth, Tracy? Okay. I don't know where Sweet Tea is. You guys can't see him? You must have all the important people blocked. Well, I'll do the fucking honors then. Why don't you suck it, Tracy Cook? You dumb fuck. Bye-bye now.
Fuck you! Shut your fucking mouth!
That's right.
No problem, Charles. Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
That's right. Let me see. And I'll tell you something else. And I don't care if you believe me or not. I would never, ever, ever let anything happen to those kids. Which kids? I watched them for 2 years. I've seen them day in and day out. What went on between Malaya and Daniel has nothing to do with me. See, that's a very important statement right there in light of what Daniel's coming up and being charged with there, Tracy. You fucking retard. I live here in the camper. They live in the trailer. What went on in there is none of my business. And when you have, like, how much more indication do you need that there's shit going on in the trailer that she is choosing to ignore? This is an admission. I live here in the camper. They live in the trailer. What went on in there? What went on in there, Janie? You keep speaking as though you're hiding all of this information relevant to Danny's old pattern of, what would we call it, rapine? I live here in the camper. They live in the trailer. What went on in there is none of my business. And when you have to call your kids or Jack and Lily's mother and tell them that Jack has his boots off and Jack has his coats off, does that tell you that Malaya was watching the kids? So don't come down on me because they weren't my grandchildren. See this? That says so much in this case. But I do consider them my grandchildren. See this pattern right here? This is her. That's a major leak. It fucking shocked her. It triggered her into having to go the exact opposite direction. You went too far, fabricator. Christ, there's a circus going on behind me. Anyway. This whole statement is a great one. And you know, right from the get-go, listen to how she opens it up. I don't care if you believe me or not. Well, then why even bring it up? Why even talk about it? This pattern of trying to persuade an audience into her way of thinking. Oh, hey, Janie, bitch, why don't you do your research, honey? Why don't you do your research? Why don't you stick to the facts? We're sticking to the facts here. Statements that come directly from your fucking cock holster. Go. Go. I'll tell you something else. I don't care if you believe me or not. I would never, ever let anything happen to those kids. I watched them for 2 years. I've seen them day in and day out. What went on between Malaya and Daniel has nothing to do with me. There's so much in this paragraph. So much information. We know you, Janie. She says she lives here in the camper. They live in the trailer. What went on in there is none of Janie's business. And when you have to call your kids, so she immediately jumps to blaming Malaya for something, Tracy. And when you have to call your kids or Jack and Lily's mother and tell them that Jack has his boots off and Jack has his coats off, does that tell you that Malaya was watching the kids? So don't come down on me because they weren't my grandchildren. But I do consider them my grandchildren. Now, which one of those do you believe? I don't care what anybody says. When they came into my life, they became part of my family. So this fine trailer you're putting in at this point, she needs to come back and soften what it is she just said. So if people don't, then they don't think very much of me because I'm not that kind of person. Janie, you're a fucking crazy bitch. You're an angry, crazy, cuckoo bitch. Holy Hannah. Now, I want to continue this. I want to get all of this out of my system, and I want to tell you guys the truth. It really bothers me because I've been a grandmother for 9.5 years. In the last 2 months, I can't be a grandmother anymore. I'm not a grandmother. My grandchild, my oldest granddaughter's birthday was on the 25th of this month, and I couldn't even see her, all because of what happened. And I have nothing to do with it. So hey, take it to the front. Holy Hannah. Someone broke into my studio. Oh boy. I can't be a grandmother anymore. So she goes on about how she needs your sympathy because of all of these things that are happening and affecting her as opposed to Jack and Lily. But she needs to let you know the important part of that message is that Janie has nothing to do with it. All because of what happened, and I had nothing to do with it. Holy shit. It's like she's reverting back to like a 7-year-old child. You're going to get a little bit more than grounded in this. All because of what happened, and I had nothing to do with it. But I am the one that is suffering. But I am the one that is suffering. So she immediately, right on Jack and Lily's back, she tramps. I have nothing to do with whatever it is that happened to Jack and Lily. Those are Malaya's kids. They're not my grandchildren, and it's affecting me, and you need to feel sorry for me. That's what she's saying. You're disgusting. What a poor excuse for a human being Janie is. Jesus Christ, there's so many lessons in this. You could even add this book to the Bible. They don't know where they are. Let's see, my grandchild, my oldest, and I couldn't even see her, all because of what happened, and I had nothing to do with it. But I am the one that is suffering. But I am the one that is suffering. Oh, and so is Jack and Lily. Again, she prioritizes herself ahead of Jack and Lily. That's the third time in this short little segment that she's had to walk back the harshness of her statements by adding Jack and Lily to the end. Like, how many more of these red flags do you need to run into before you start saying enough is enough here? You've seen enough. This bitch is evil. She's a demon. They don't know where they are. They don't know what's going on. Well, Meadow doesn't know what's going on, and my other two grandchildren don't know what's going on. I watched my oldest two grandchildren play with those kids. Those kids. She keeps referring to Jack and Lily as different than her biological grandchildren. That's just like Daniel appealing to the world, saying, I have kids too. Oh, dear. Yes, you can have that. There's nothing left. I watched my oldest two grandchildren play with those kids for the last 2 years. And now they don't even know what's happening. They don't know what happened to Jack and Lily. They don't know where they are. It's not about me. It's about, I'm worried about my grandchildren. Again, priorities. What impact this is having on them. I can recover from this. It's going to take me a long time. What a thing to say. What a thing to say. We don't know where Jack and Lily are, but Janie's already talking about being on the mend. Oh my God, thank God. She's already gotten over it. She got over it within the hour. And then, decided to carry on with the cover-up. Grab a rake. Let's level out some ground. I can recover from this. It's going to take me a long time. But just think of what the impact has on my grandchildren and Jack and Lily. How much it's hurting them. What is it she keeps referring to? What is it she's referring to exactly? Again, what is this thing you keep referring to that's harming you and your family? And how is it everybody else's fault? We need to consider how that affects you, as opposed to you worrying about your own ass. Because it all happened right next to your old nasty trailer and RV. That fucking thing. I hope people burn that fucking thing to the ground and put it up on YouTube. And I begged Malaya to come out and tell her side of the story, Timmy. And she's the only one that can answer the questions that we can't. I begged her to come out and talk for the sake of the grandchildren and the sake of her children. Again, priorities. You guys put yourself in my shoes and see how you would feel. See how she loves to do that shit? We don't need to do that anymore, Janie. We've had enough. You mean your prison flip-flops? Put yourself in Janie's prison flip-flops and see how you guys would feel. You would be feeling exactly the same way I am. Isn't that exactly what she told Mike the other day in her DMs? She told Mike in her DMs, and she was crying this part too. It was almost the exact same thing. You would be feeling exactly the same way I am. I'm no different than anybody else, but you are, Janie. I do have a heart. And I'm not standing up for Daniel. And I'm not standing up for Malaya. I'm standing up for myself. Yeah, we could tell. Fuck, she gives herself away. At very minimum, Janie, you're an accessory after the fact. If not guilty of having a hand in what the incident was that led to Jack or Lily. Could be very different scenarios. Who knows? We don't know yet. But it strengthens the odds of you having something to do with at least one of them, if not both. And not to mention the charges that you're going to catch for the disposing of and deciding to dispose of, and the way that you handled the corpse, and the way that you handled this incident with the RCMP and obstructing of justice and everything. Holy shit, it's going to be endless, woman. And you're worried? What exactly are you worried about? That's what the cognitive load. I'm just clarifying it for you, Janie. That's the shit that should be worrying you. And I believe it really is, no matter what it comes out of your mouth. Okay? You come across as stupid and ignorant and hopeful of people picking up your nonsense story. You've had ample opportunity to add context and really figure things out along the way, and you guys utterly refuse to be cooperative into whatever it is that happened. Focus primarily on yourselves. Plus a whole lot more. I begged her to come out and talk for the sake of the grandchildren and for the sake of her children. You guys put yourself in my shoes. Well, look what happened when Malaya started coming out. They got just enough to put your son up on SA charges. Forcible confinement. Imagine what else is going to come along down the line. I don't think that's going to be the end of your court troubles. And guess what? Here's a big secret. Yeah, it all has something to do with what happened to Jack and Lily. No matter how they're going to phrase it. Do you know why? Because you were looking after two children who are now missing and presumed dead. And you're caught with your pants down 10 months into a bullshit story. That's not just slightly off. The whole thing is off. You guys put yourself in Janie's shoes and see how you would feel. You would be feeling exactly the same way I am, she says. Well, you just answered your own question. Why would you even bring it up if you know how somebody else would feel? It's not like you've considered it. I'm no different than anybody else. But that's bullshit, Janie. Janie, you were a grandmother to these children a few minutes ago. You lived in the RV in the driveway of the trailer in the middle of nowhere that these kids lived with nobody else around for miles. That's completely different than everybody else. You're a suspect in all of this. Do you understand that? Janie says, I do have a heart, and I'm not standing up for Daniel, and I'm not standing up for Malaya. I'm standing up for myself. I told you everything that I know, and I told the truth. If you want to give me a Bible and swear on it, I will. And besides, what would I have to gain by doing something to Lily and Jack? And it breaks my heart. I can't see my grandchildren. It breaks my heart because I don't know where Lily and Jack are. And look at poor Meadow when she's going through. She has no parents that are together anymore. You guys just don't understand. I wish you were in my shoes, being blamed for something I had nothing to do with. Well, it's going to be important that you tell investigators what that something is. I'm pretty sure that they're eager to find out or have your interpretation of what that is. That's what they're figuring out right now, honey.
Daniel and I are both speaking the truth. That's the problem with you YouTubers. You guys twist everything around. And I don't know why it's all about stupid stuff that you guys put on there about, I can't believe how you guys humiliated us.
I am one person So don't put all of this on me because I am not other people. I don't even watch anybody else at this moment. I have enough to work with analyzing you, and I have enough
Do
friends
your
who bring
research.
information my way. When there is something specific, I'm very thankful for that.
about the way that I live, what I live in, the
That
way I dress.
the, that was not me. I didn't say how you dress. I know people talk about that. Yeah, but don't put all of this on me.
Timu Hussey.
Let's keep this to what I have said personally, right? Which is why you reached out to me. And I had a nice reply for your dog pic, by the way. I'm not going to show this right now. I had a good one, man. And then you come with this. Okay, let's listen to you.
The way I act, that has nothing to do with Jack and Lily. Why do you think that?
I agree with you. But
Oh, I disagree.
you now saying it to me has nothing to do with Jack and Lily either. Okay?
One moment, Michael. Trail Hiker says, Janie, well, you are on Temu. Please order yourself a bra next time you buy a shirt. Yeah, Janie, why don't you just order like a bra that's already sewn into the inside of your nasty ass shirt so you can just put it on in one foul swoop. You don't have to worry about it. Like, could you imagine television cameras showing up and somebody's breasts are hanging out by their belly button and it's just slightly cold? And she's got it front unzipped all the way down, halfway down her chest. Like, what the fuck is going on around there? Oh, Snarky Pants, you're talking about these AI generated. This is the only reason I like to use AI in this sense. It's part of the tool package. What else can you use it for? You can reimagine certain images. I like that function. Sometimes you get pictures in your head. It's a lot easier to look at. This particular one is made for audio, though. Now, hold on. We're listening to Mike Demands Part 3, Janie's New Messages. I'm trying to pick up where I left off yesterday. But I want to focus around what it was we were talking about. We can also look at Daniel's bobblehead. Every time he gets a little stressed and he's answering something or straight up lying, of course, you could take it as an indicator. He has this nervous twitch, this shake, this uncontrollable vibration that he's bobbing, and it shows up on camera. It happened both times, 2 times in January. We can look at that a little bit later too.
And I was not the one doing that. I did a lot, but the dress, I don't know. No, I don't remember that.
He's got to tell.
I am so upset.
Again, after that, I asked you about Thursday night, and still you wouldn't answer me. You would still avoid a lot of.
So the whole point, really, that she's contacting Mike is to try to get him to stop making content about her. She's just so affected by it. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Things.
With you guys, because you guys just made a mockery out of stuff that didn't have to do with Jack and Lily. A lot of this stuff that you guys are posting has nothing to do with Jack and Lily.
Absolutely, it has everything to do with Jack and Lily. How is it you live in a place like you do, Janie McKenzie, and you want to use that as a fucking excuse? You want to talk about the backyard? You want to talk about the state of why you're living in that shithole in your driveway in the first place, you crazy old bat? Get a better image of it. It has everything to do with the investigation, with the case. because you all shared the same home life, the existence. It's the same house, the same place, Janie. Let's see. What the hell is this? Look at, you're not concerned about the kid's home life? That's cleaned up. That's one of the earlier drone shots. Everything people have talked about has been information to come by way of Janie and Daniel specifically. There's been no time, no amount of things not to talk about. People had no reason just to get back and make things up. They want to portray as though there's just hundreds of thousands of, or let's just say many different theories about what it is that happened to the kids. No, there's only one. Life and death, okay? And who's responsible? It's not going to fucking matter the specifics of that. Who was responsible, no matter what way you look at it, are Malaya, Daniel, and Janie. The best that you come forward to the RCMP with is that you were dazing in and out of sleep. You were drifting in and out of sleep, and you couldn't and didn't want to recount your last moments. It took 3 goddamn weeks to get a little bit of information about where exactly you were. You don't think the kids might be, they might be wondering about maybe an hour into seeing no signs of the kids in the woods, not picking up a scent? You not being cooperative, and instead of having to sit there and give yourself away with all of the different tells you're tweaking on with, both of Janie and Daniel, you had to pretend that you had a reason to go out and keep searching deeper and deeper into the woods. That's illogical in light of your story that you presented. That's what makes it forever suspicious. A 4 and a 6-year-old child don't just wander miles and miles and miles into the bush when you just last saw them, you say, 10 minutes ago. It's really working against you that there's only so many places a person can come to and go to when there's only a few roads in your vicinity. But the cops aren't going to wait around to play guessing games with you fucking idiots. We've passed the point of no return with your claims. You don't want to allot any sort of specific time frames, especially you, Janie, to all of this story of yours of what happened on Friday morning. That negates any of your claims. Null and void. Evasive. You don't want to tell people the time because you didn't bring your phone, as though that's an excuse that you're satisfied with, which is disturbing in a tell in of itself about what you're prioritizing in an emergency situation where 2 kids that you claim to be part of your family in front of the cameras are missing. Trail hiker AB isn't just preaching a sermon, it's a revival. Oh, trail hiker, it's not like that. We're just up here spitting facts. We're going to come up here spitting turntables, and we'll make songs and music out of it to remind them. Make it more interesting. There's so much in this case, so much deception at foot. Nobody's had the need to make anything up and spill it your way because the worst is true here. You have everything to do with what happened to Jack and Lily, guys. Not only do you have no ounce of remorse, you're quite the opposite. You're defensive. Which isn't consistent with the caring grandmother, by the way. I'm not sure if I had to tell you that. Oh, Jesus. Take the wheel. Why would D. Martel's DNA be on the blanket? Like, well, probably because he walks past it every day. It came from inside the trailer. It was from their house. Who knows? Who cares? Let them tell you why it's important. If you're innocent in all of this, you'd be so full of information, you'd have to ram it down people's mouths, not talk in circles and avoid things and gatekeep and protect the integrity of somebody else's investigation unless you were the prime suspect. Snarky Pants. Annie, I agree. They thought after a couple of days everyone would just throw their hands up and give up. Well, that's the hope, because that's all they've got is hope, right? They're hoping that the RCMP don't fucking ring them up for this. They're hoping to get away with very serious crimes here. They can't even hide it. They can't even hide their disdain and contempt for the kids, Malaya's side of the family, and they couldn't in that moment. So you have to think that it's an extension of the fight that was already going on in that house up to that point. There's conflict between Malaya and Daniel, and Janie obviously sides with Daniel. Really, in the moment, giving him all the justification that he needs in a fit of rage to carry out unorthodox measures of discipline, perhaps, or just normalized abuse, which is visible to even the RCMP on the search day with Janie going physical on Haley. Imagine what the kids went through. And imagine parents who want to convince the public that none of that is even important in a situation like this. Doesn't that tell you something? Yeah, no, it's important every time, Janie. Not just specific to you. It's important every time. You're not in control of any of this. Your weak assertions about you being cooperative with things that would otherwise be routine. You're doing it in effort to appeal to people and persuade them into thinking that you had nothing to do with it and you're just simple-minded. Well, simple-minded liars, for sure. Julie, Janie needs to try truth. It's way easier. Yeah, I hear you. It begins, then a straight, clear line till it ends. Simples. Lori Green says Janie has to put herself in a bad situation. Or Janie has put herself in a bad situation, excuse me. I agree, in my opinion. And I think it's eating her up. Oh, absolutely. Think about the real reasons why it would be bothering an individual. Things like this are only bothersome to you. Like, think about what she brings up. She's worried about other people judging her and shaming her. That's her fear. That's what she's sharing her fear to be. We all know it's not about that. That's part of her avoidance, her pattern of deception. She's sensitive to being judged because everybody would be sensitive to being judged if you got caught fucking living in an RV in your driveway. Wouldn't you? I would. That I can agree with Janie with. But that doesn't change the facts of the situation, Janie. It's still a fact and a factor in the case of whatever happened to Jack and Lily. And I'm starting to figure out what it exactly was that did happen. As we all are. Janie says you can't add to the truth, but you can add to a lie. They've been adding to their lies all along, in my opinion. I like that quote yesterday, Robin. That made me laugh. What a spaz. talking about how to Mike about how Durwood, everybody knows Durwood, Darren Geddes is a bullshitter, a liar. Everybody knows that. Didn't everybody call her ass out on that? You can go back and follow it day by day by day. Janie, you're the source of all of Derpwood's bullshit, baby. Okay? Even got his cameo in the CBC interview. He is one booze-nosed, ugly, mug-looking SOB. Dirty, dirty, dirty Darren. Well, there's not a whole lot of grieving going on at that place, Queez. Not even for a minute. Listen to Mike for a moment.
That is the problem. And my interview, the only reason why I was so upset with you YouTubers is the shit that you guys put out. If I would have kept my mouth shut, I still would have been drug into this. So it don't make any difference. That's why I came out. And yes, Darren did say a lot of shit. And yes, I cleared it all up.
No, you didn't. Why did you go along with it first?
But the thing that you got to realize is you don't know how much of this is hurting us.
That was in the beginning, though.
With all the bullshit that's put out there.
For example? Oh, man. That is such a rewarding feeling, isn't it? There's no bullshit being put out about you, Janie. Nobody's had the need to make anything up in this situation. It's been so outlandish, including your behavior, and you even acknowledged it. And it has nothing to do with what happened to Jack and Lily. No, it does. You don't want it to. See, these are all the things that you should have told the CBC, honey. She does have some effing nerve. I agree, Snarky Pants 63. She says, you YouTubers just like Cousin Earl. Cousin Earl. No shit. Clapping seal. Man, that must be humiliating. How dare you judge her because she's inbred? Oh, shit. Helicopter Grandma, that is because you care and love them all. Listen. Just like their family tree is circular as well. Well, what was making me think today, Miss Bartman, to myself, that we're not too far away from other crimes against kids. Just exactly how far did this SA go? What was the circumstances? And when you deal with such an unpredictable individual like Daniel Martel under the influence of the mathematics on Nazi guard duty, you don't know what the hell is going to go on. Maybe he was abusing the kids far beyond just the physical and emotional abuse he admits to and have been documented up to this point and spoken about openly. It's not like anybody's had to make anything up. But Janie's in such staunch denial, and the facts that we know have grown so much farther than her script has evolved in that sense, because she's bonded to what it is that they told the RCMP that day, rather than what we're finding out to be true based off of getting to know them over a period of time. There's no fooling us with this bullshit information in real time because people are thirsty for information.
The bullshit. There's absolutely no need of it all. Stick to the facts. You guys got to stick to the facts.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I listened to this in the car earlier. And my daughter was there too. And before, I showed my daughter the picture of me as a dog. And she said, don't share this. And then she said, yeah, it's kind of funny. And the dog is handsome. You can go ahead and do it. My daughter's 8, by the way. And she asked about you, Janie. And I played her how you talked about Jack and Lily. And I showed her you talking in that interview. My daughter said, oh my God. Oh my God. That woman is scary. And she used witch and crow, which again, you know what? Let me say it like this to you. The way you speak about Jack and Lily, people will never forget that. They will never forget the heartless way that you spoke about these 2 missing children. People will never forget this, okay? And now I'm going to show another example in a minute just how Janie is changing her intonation.
Of what's going on, not the way we fucking live. That
She wants to be able to play the victim card, people. She wants to be in the category of victim. Oh my God, that woman is scary. And she used witch and crow, which again, you know what? Let me say it like this to you. The way you speak about Jack and Lily,
Whoops. I missed my timestamp. It's okay.
people will never forget that. They will never forget the heartless way that you spoke about these 2 missing children. People will never forget this, okay?
No doubt. We were just going through it. I like this part. Janie says, when she's crying like a little bitch, thank you. Now, if there's any more questions, please ask them now because I'm not staying on here much longer. So get this over with. I am fighting to see my grandchildren. I've already got in the process of trying to see my 2 oldest. And as I said, I'll fight tooth and nail to see my grandchildren. Nobody's going to stop me. The CPS is stopping me from seeing Meadow because they say it's an ongoing investigation. And I think it's the mother of the 2 other grandchildren that aren't letting me see them. But I'm taking court action, starting in the process of seeing them, starting to hopefully see them. Well, see how that changed? I told the truth, and I will not stop telling the truth until Jack and Lily are found. And my story will not change because I told you exactly the same thing as I told in my interview. That's what the important part of this little paragraph is, isn't it? Listen to the way that she phrases this. And my story will not change because I told you exactly the same thing as I told in my interviews. Yeah, that's what we've been saying about you the entire time. You know, being bonded to this as we're figuring out how you treated them, the abuse that these kids were going on, and you don't even want to acknowledge it. In fact, you come out of your skin when the CBC interviewer Heather asked you about it and you were sitting down already. No, I did not have anything to do with Jack and Lily, and neither did Daniel. You were shaken, bothered. You guys are sensitive. Brian, hold on. I must have overlooked them. Do you want me to scroll up? Messages? You sent me messages? Where in this chat, you mean? No, I guess I haven't, Brian. Where did you send them? Just one? I haven't seen it yet. I'll go look afterwards. I will look afterwards.
And now I'm going to show another example in a minute just how Janie is changing her intonation.
Facts of what's going on, not the way we fucking live. That
She wants to be able to play the victim card, people. She wants to be in the category of victim. She wants to have immunity. And the only way she thinks she can get that is by telling you how much she is suffering. But she doesn't realize that at the same time, the way she talks about Jack and Lily, it's victim blaming. I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry Janie, but you will never understand what it is I'm doing. And therefore, you will always be fighting what I'm saying. Because you yourself would ignore what I'm saying, because you wouldn't get it. You can ask your son, I think he gets it. You're making it worse. The same way you talked about, there are no kids here now, so why was I raking on Thursday? This doesn't work. Maybe that works in Lansdowne Station. Okay. It doesn't work in the real world, Janie. Come clean. Come clean. Come clean.
That's the problem. It's not about Jack and Lily anymore. You guys are saying that we are making a circus out of this.
I am not we. I am me. But she doesn't understand the difference between me and what some people do that so-called create content. You know what I mean? She doesn't know the difference. She doesn't know how much power her words hold. She doesn't understand what it means to actually analyze somebody's words. She assumes, as she says later, that I'm listening to other people and I'm blindly following them. That's not what I'm doing. I'm listening to you, Malaya, and Daniel. And I have more than enough.
They're not. It's the YouTubers that are making a circus out of this. And that's the problem. Nobody sticks to the facts. It's all you want to do is make fun of us. What is...
I did a couple of times, but, just when it really, really hits hard, man. When you really, really... Yeah, I did make fun when you actually admitted you were raking on Thursday night.
This sense in that. That has nothing to do with Jack and Lily. You guys make me out to be a fucking evil person, which I'm not.
Here we go. Famous line. You make me out to be an evil person, Janie says. It's other people that are making you out to be an evil person, rather than really the words that you're saying at any one point in time, Janie? And think about, she's lying and crying at the same time too. A lie cry. What's the term for it? Let's see.
I have a fucking heart of gold. I'm not. I have a fucking heart of gold. You guys make me out to be a fucking evil person, which I'm not. I have a fucking heart of gold. Fucking Lily.
She's like married to the F-bomb, isn't she? Wow. You got quite the sailor's mouth there, Janie. You're trying to convince people that you're not evil, and you just blast us with F-bombs. What is this, a Marilyn Manson concert? Oh, shit. All hail Satan, friends. The Dark Lord cometh. My God. Oh, just the facts, ma'am. Thank you very much. AB, much respect. Does anyone else not think there is a definite area of fresh digging on driveway in that picture and how it's all changed in subsequent pictures? Janie, come clean. Yeah, well, it's easy to tell because there's earthworks, there's groundworks that's being done over the course of recent months. They've pulled over the topsoil and they've raised grade. They've backed in Kent's old broken down nasty RV for Janie to live in, and now they're pretending it's their front yard as though this was like the Arizona desert. It's so fucked up. And they introduce a fictional pool even. Oh, it's going to be a kid's pool. Yep. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Putting that in. Not no more, though. I'm not allowed to see any of my kids. That's very generous, helicopter grandmom. Thank you very much.
You guys make me out to be a fucking evil person, which I'm not. I have a fucking heart of gold.
Isn't that a meme? That could be a Janie meme. Man, she really loves to blame everybody. Especially, she never likes to be specific. It's just in general. You know what? That's just gaslighting, isn't it? No wonder you're having trouble in the relationship department there, Janie. Holy mackerel. You don't know if this girl's setting you up to steal all your money or not. She probably invites you over to the RV for a romantic microwave dinner and then ends up handcuffing you to the inside of that goddamn RV and stealing your fucking money in the middle of nowhere. She comes across as one of those types. She comes across as somebody who's running all kinds of scams, who can't wait to pull the next insurance scam like a slip and a fall in a grocery store.
Couple of times, but just when it really, really hits hard, man. When you really, yeah, I did make fun when you actually admitted you were raking on Thursday night.
This sense in that has nothing to do with Jack and Lily. You guys make me out to be a fucking evil person, which I'm not. I have a fucking heart of gold. But you guys don't realize that. You know what it would be like if you were in our shoes, being accused of somebody killing kids, which we never did.
That she just can't stop herself. You know her next leak is just a statement away. It's riveting. How are you going to fuck up next? How are you going to slip next? What are you going to say next, Janie? And here we go. Here's another example of it. Just when you didn't think it could get much better. Listen.
Killing kids, which we never... If you were in our shoes, being accused of somebody killing person, which I'm not. I have a fucking heart of gold.
She wants you to put yourself in her shoes and see how it would feel if you were being accused of something that you didn't do, a crime that you didn't do in that sense. That's how she wants to present it to investigators. That stands out. That screams guilty knowledge. Why? Blanket reason? Because innocent people don't act like that. That's right in the textbooks from police academy. They tell all the cops that. People learn that's just human nature. She's such a fucking tool. There's a really famous case in Australia where this young man met a young girl off the internet and took her back to his apartment, and CCTV camera captured her going in and never coming out, and then him coming out with a suitcase and everything else. And there's a very famous statement from his interrogation that you can find here on YouTube. And he gets up, when the detectives pull him into the interview room, he gets up and sticks his head out the door, and he's trying to flag down a passing cop, and he's asking the detective, he says, excuse me, sir, am I being charged for something that I didn't do? Yeah. Yeah. We got a live one here. She's like the bluefin tuna of lies. I'm just like you. Look at me, everybody. I'm just like you, only I'm closer to these children. Therefore, I deserve so much more sympathy than Belinda specifically at this point in time. Why can't you listen to me and listen to the things that I say like you listen to Belinda? I'm paraphrasing Janie's cognitive load there. New technique I just picked up. Listen to this.
But you guys don't realize that. You know what it would be like if you were in our shoes, being accused of somebody killing kids, which we never did.
Never did? How about we didn't do? Always never.
They left here Friday morning. I don't know where they are. I have no clue if I did, believe me. The first person that would be notified would be the RCMP or the investigators.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta stop making fucking us out to be bad people when we're not.
Oh boy, you're very persuasive. Not. Her persuasion can't help but come across as like a threat, just above subtle, because you're reinforcing it with an F-bomb every time, and you can't stop it, which tells us that it's a real sensitivity area with you, Janie. Why would that possibly be? Because the things that we bring up are true. That's why. That's why it's affecting you. You had the option to shut your mouth, but you didn't. You couldn't. Because you couldn't handle the things people were saying about your shitty lack of information to go along with what happened to Jack and Lily Sullivan directly. And everything, like it or not, has to do with the scenario. Everything. Everything down to that ugly, hideous Temu shirt that you're probably wearing right now. You're probably wearing that ugly fucking thing right now in the Jack and Lily's old bedroom. Laying on the mattress on the floor. Probably got Durwood stains on it. Sweat stains. Booze stains that seep from his pores. And that funky looking nose of his. And who the hell are you to pretend that you're innocent of any wrongdoing in all of this and tell people what is true, what's not true? Shouldn't you be telling the RCMP exactly what happened that day? And you're not? So you're satisfied with no information, because we're all well aware of the situation, as we should be. But somehow you still want to play gatekeeper with any sort of information. We know why, and it has a lot to do with old Danny's out of control behavior, violent tendencies, sexual aggression, the neglect and abuse and poor living conditions that Jack and Lily were subjected to in that fucking compound of torture. It's no different than a Nazi concentration camp where there's two separate people. Oh, sure, all the guards had their families living there, close by. There's all kinds of entitled kids. You're allowing your entitled kids to come and play on your land, but Jack and Lily are treated like less than human. You've got them confined between these new fucking fences. I'm surprised you didn't electrify it. They didn't have a chance to. You tweakers, you put your kids' names on the leases. If that's even true, it doesn't matter if it is or not. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't your idea to start rearranging the earth and raising grade and backing all of this nonsense in to try to make it look like it's not even a good looking doghouse. It's not even suitable for the dog. In fact, the dog likely dies in there. It's too hot in the summer, too hot in the winter when the fire's going. He can't step and sleep everywhere. He's got to find a cool place in there. I'd say that fucking structure that you have the dog in is what's causing it the most stress, not to mention its uptight owner who bitches about everything. You probably eat his dog food too.
There's two sides to this. You gotta realize.
Now, there are three sides to this.
So isn't that interesting, though, before we go, that she's insisting that there's two sides to this? Here goes her reference to this that she doesn't want to describe in any sort of fashion. So there's two sides to whatever it is she's talking, and she's letting you in. She's the only one that considers there to be only two sides, hers and Malaya's. That's further indication of her holding guilty knowledge, right? Something happened and you know it's coming down to you two. You can see it now that you want to bring it into a he said, she said, or point fingers. You guys have done that since the get-go. Why? Because you know whatever you know, those kids, one, didn't wander off into the woods. The story that you gave law enforcement is bullshit. It's something that you had to fabricate in real time in order to try to get away with, well, nothing short of double child murder in the first. Capital. You can't get any higher. The worst of the worst happened here. Times two. Yes, Kim Elton. Good night, darling. There's two sides to this, but she's not insisting on the side that's most important, which is the truth, the most accurate depiction of the timeline, the chronology of the case itself. There's no ever any direct acknowledgement to that. In fact, she bounced away from that. She doesn't insist that time is even important, especially from her account of things, her perspective, her truth, we'll call it. Fucking ridiculous term. Her truth, that's just a lie. It's a deviated form of what really happened.
Number three being the truth.
You don't see all the YouTubers picking on Malaya. No, she's not speaking out. You know what?
You see what this is? She's not going to give you the truth. She realizes that side number one focuses on her. So she wants to give you side number 2 that focuses on Malaya. What she is not.
That's a good question, Julie B. AB. Why is none of this anger and vitriol directed at Daniel? Probably is. It's odd. He is the cause of most of her strife. Yeah, but I'll give you the yeah buts. In this scenario, it's a bigger fight that they need to align themselves with because of how far they're balls deep into this. All right? There's no going back now. They've already lied to police in that sense, and they need to stay together so they don't both go down in that sense. One person goes down, they all go down. One person in this is going to break with the reality. They're going to have to at one point in the very near future. They've had all this time to straighten things out. Look about all the discrepancies. Yeah, Robin says her brother Wayne says she's very angry at Daniel. Yeah, through that voice message. Yeah, I'm sure that she's not very happy. Believe me. She's out there in the RV not because of choice. Daniel isn't exactly a stand-up fucking guy in all of this. He's a little bitch. Janie knows it. But she still has to pick a side in all of this because the enemy at hand is far too powerful for her to handle. The situation dictates it so. Helicopter Grandma, they all lied, created the situation, and have to keep going with what they all said, right? They have to maintain their lies. Someone in another chat, that's why it never deviates. It never floats too far from, it's just a rhetorical check back to what it is that they already said, like it as if you didn't physically hear it the first time. No follow-up, no question, no deep discussion about the possibilities. It doesn't even resemble a legitimate scenario of a missing child case where the parents are desperate to get their children back. Quite the opposite. So something else happened. Janie doesn't like us talking about all of the realistic aspects of the case. It's very sensitive to them. Of course it is. We saw it right away. Daniels comes into people's chats and demands that he'll answer questions, but nothing in regards to drugs. No drug questions, or he's out of there. He's very demanding in people's chats. He thinks he's a big man on campus. What a waste of time all of that was. Michelle says ZM was absolved of doing anything that Thursday night as well when he was out working on the fence. That takes up a lot of time on their Thursday. The fact is that he doesn't want to fill it in. He was around, but he doesn't want to be telling anybody what it was he was doing, including what time he came to bed. Janie IDs him out in the yard, helping her with the fence all night long. So there's a big portion of that evening he doesn't want to say what it was he was doing to begin with. So at what point did you talk to Malaya then and tell her that you were going to stay up and do the cleaning for her? She mentioned that in the paperwork, Danny, at the time. Wonder what that was all about. See, there's other things occurring within the confines of that house. And none of it was good. They weren't carrying on like a normal day or a day in which they weren't fighting or arguing, or he wasn't trying to control the fuck out of her. Because what is the next steps past all of this scenario? So you've got all your friends blocked. You're tracking each other's phones. You're blocking her from talking from her mom on the phone from time to time. So obviously there is some problems. And I would hypothesize that it has to do with the shitty living conditions you have them all living in that wretched trailer with your asshole grandmother. It's putting a strain on the relationship, not to mention all the lack of finances. Cody's not sending through child support to live off of. So there's the kids' money, the monthly child tax benefit. That was ending at April 30th. That was a priority. So it tells us that Daniel wasn't at that point in time doing anything about it. That just didn't happen overnight. His entire attitude was more of financial isolation than it was anything else. Just how far were you going to take this? How far were you going to take this new relationship of yours? Were you just going to end up locking Malaya in a closet? What's up, Nasty?
Interested in giving us is the side that should be the only one. You can call it number 3, or you could call it also side number 1 and eliminate the others. And that would be the only truth. She doesn't want to give us the truth. She refuses to do that. What she is offering is side number 2 to the story. There are 2 sides to a story. I don't want the story, Janie. Don't you understand that my analysis pleads being the shortcut to zoom right in? You're giving away what happened. And maybe you have whatever they call ADHD or whatever the hell it is, that you can't sit down and you're unable to concentrate and you're only able to, talk whatever is on your mind right now. Unable to listen. There are people like that. Maybe you're one of those. It could really, really be. But that way you're never going to learn. You're always going to be surprised, because I can tell you one thing. If you stick with me and learn a little bit, you're going to realize that we got you. And the only way out for you is to tell the whole truth. Because you know what? Daniel is going to fry. It's going to end very, very badly, Janie. Don't make Daniel pay for your inability to comprehend and your unwillingness to get better at it.
Because she knows what's going on.
So do you.
And she's going to bring Daniel down as much as she can.
She also protected him from the beginning, right? She protected him from the CPS. She didn't protect Jack and Lily.
Because if she goes down, she doesn't want Daniel to have Meadow.
If she goes down, she doesn't want Daniel to have Meadow.
That would never even be a consideration, Janie. Again, another very weak assertion on your part. Sorry. Sorry, bitch. Sorry, biatch. Where's my buzzer? Let's see. Janie, a reading. Listen to this. I've been telling everybody from the start of this, I had no involvement in the disappearances of Jack and Lily. I gave the investigators the same story that I'm telling you guys. I did not have anything to do with what Malaya, if Daniel, has said or done. Interesting. I've been holding this in for 2 months until Thursday when I gave my interview. The reason why I've been doing this is the investigators advised me not to speak to anybody because of their investigation. But it's been over 2 months now. I find the investigators are not telling us anything. Why would they? They put... What? They put only one report out since all this happened. They are not giving us any updates. I'm tired I can't deal with this because they are all keeping stuff to themselves, which the public should know. Well, it's interesting that she's saying that at this point, isn't it? See, this is her acting as though she's got the same concerns as all of you out there. I'm tired. I can't deal with this because just a second ago I thought you can't deal with the YouTubers. Well, which is it there, honey? I'm tired. I can't deal with this because they are keeping stuff to themselves, meaning the RCMP, which the public should know. We should know what is happening. I don't believe Malaya took that picture. I believe it was a drone. The same drone that took the picture of the property. I wasn't around when it happened, but I'm believing it was a drone that took that picture of Daniel and Justin on the ATV. There is something else I have to clear up about the ATV. The ATV has not been on this property in the last 5 years or so because my neighbor, which I'm not going to mention, is known for stealing property. Oh, shout out Bradley Wong. Shout out. So listen to how stupid this sounds. There is something else that I have to clear up about the ATV. The ATV has not been on the property in the last 5 years or so. I already think she's lying. I already suspect a lie. Why are you telling me about your ATV, your own personal ATV, and the fact that you don't keep your own personal ATV at your own house, but somewhere else? Because you're afraid of it getting stolen? That's so hard to believe. Ever heard of insurance? Probably not. I wasn't around when it happened. Let's see. I don't believe Malaya took that picture. Okay, so there's something else I have to clear up. The ATV has not been on this property in the last 5 years or so because my neighbor, Bradley Wong, the dude who was telling the cops all about the vehicular activity from their property on Garlock Road from the hours of midnight to 4 a.m. on May 1st into May 2nd. That guy. The ATV has not been on this property in the last 5 years or so because my neighbor, Bradley Wong, which I'm not going to mention, is known for stealing property. And that was one thing that I did not want. I did not want him to take. And I also want to mention, too, someone I can't tell you who. Just like the RCMP couldn't tell Daniel about who was bringing threats towards his life and these fake death threats that he was talking about in the CBC. What a fool. Even the CBC are smarter than that. You can't get that one by them. And I also want to mention, too, someone I can't tell you who has broken in when Daniel and I were away, has broken into her trailer and have taken a few things. Well, just a few things. They're just stopped by shopping. Oh, interesting. I'm not going to say what they are, but they've taken a few things. It's all been reported to the investigators. And yes, we still have drones that fly over our place. It's usually Friday and Saturday nights mostly. So if the people out there that are flying the drones, if you like to watch a 60-year-old woman get busy with all of her sex toys in an RV on a Friday and Saturday night and have nothing better to do, you go ahead. Man, what a crazy old broad.
I have more than enough.
You guys. Because you guys just made a mockery.
Thursday night, and still you wouldn't answer me. You would still avoid a lot of things.
With you guys. Because you guys just made a mockery out of stuff that didn't have to do with Jack and Lily. A lot of this stuff that you guys are posting has nothing to do with Jack and Lily. That is the problem. And my interview, the only reason why I was so upset.
See, this is the same excuse she gave Haley at the end of the drive when everybody she kicked off of the property on the Saturday of the search, isn't it? That's the reason Janie gave to the RCMP, she says. That's interesting. Not that I'm taking it to heart. It's just it's her lies, right? It's her deception. Janie, very suspicious.
Set with you YouTubers is the shit that you guys put out. If I would have kept my mouth shut, I still would have been drug into this. So it don't make any difference. That's why I came out. And yes, Darren did say a lot of shit. And yes, I cleared it all up.
No, you didn't. Why did you go along with it first?
But the thing that you got to realize...
You were the source of it, Janie. You and Danny boy. You and your boy. You're the fabricators of the initial story you told the RCMP as well. So at this point, in this juncture in the investigation, in my mind, you share at this point in time a greater percentage of responsibility to the fate of Jack and Lily. Both you and Daniel. And I'm happy that Malaya isn't under your influence anymore around here. That she's insulated and isolated from it. But at least we're going to get a more realistic aspect or scenario of what happened in that trailer, which is, at this point, the most important thing in gathering evidence against you and Daniel. You resented the kids. You resented Malaya moving in. You told us that you didn't even want to share what your initial first thoughts were when you met her. It was so bad. You avoided stating it, but still mentioned it. That's not a very good beginning. That's not a very good start.
This. You don't know how much of this is hurting us.
That was in the beginning, though.
With all the bullshit that's put out there.
Guys, I think I have it figured out, though. Or the next level as far as we go. Think about this. And it's not very deep, but in regards to the things that are hurting them the most. We're talking about the conflicts and the dynamics that we're not privy to between the relationship of Janie and Daniel. The two people who are trying to get away with this is souring. They need that to remain strong. She's very sensitive about that relationship because it's irking them, because they have each other to answer to. It's not just one person keeping a secret from everybody. It's her and Daniel and perhaps other people. Do you see what I'm saying? So she's putting all of this blame for affecting that relationship because it's putting pressure on them. It's difficult to come up with answers to certain questions when a large group of people are getting wise to your bullshit. It's not them, it's you, Janie. It's all you. People have been hanging on your every word since the beginning. There's nobody out there that's blindly believing anybody other than Durwood and Kent. But she sounds terrified, and somebody is going to be overly affected and ultimately break. There's bullshit. There's something being protected, and that's the truth of what happened to Jack and Lily that night and what they did immediately after in order to carry out this extravagant cover-up. And they were well into it and incorporating other people into it every step of the way. The more the merrier. That's why they invited people over. This is real. This is not me just making it up because I've got a bias. Yeah, my bias is against them at this point, but we've gotten there step by step by step, my friends. There's a reason to hold this against child unalivers. There's a real problem here. They've literally lied about every single thing. And that's why they're terrified to progress their perspective on things. Because the more that they build, the more that they have to remember to maintain, and it's more cognitive load, and they're under enough stress at this point in time. Innocent people shouldn't be under any other stress at this time, except for not having their loved ones with them. You guys don't even consider Jack and Lily to be your loved ones. You didn't do the job when it came to trying to persuade everybody about that, and you're furious that people don't take your word for it. How could you be furious? But that's how it is. She's furious about people who don't believe her words, because that's all she has. As she bails out of the scene. No, he didn't do any damage. All the damage had already been done to Jack and Lily Mountain Miss. The damage has already happened to Jack and Lily. Durwood is an extension of Janie and Daniel, and used to disinform in order to maintain their egos, we'll say, at this point in time. What to help them out, to normalize their otherwise bizarre red flag behavior. They know how guilty they are. They need it.
The bullshit. There's absolutely no need of it all.
This is what she yells at Daniel about. All the bullshit on YouTube. And they fight over probably what Daniel's saying and what people are talking about. It's causing internal conflict. Because let's remember, they're all liars. And they're always lying, especially to one another. This is not a happy family situation. They are not normally content and satisfied with life. And they're always looking for somebody to blame for that.
The beginning, though.
With all the bullshit that's put out there. The bullshit. There's absolutely no need of it all. Stick to the facts. You guys got to stick to the facts.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I listened to this in the car earlier. And my daughter was there too. And before, I showed my daughter the picture of me as a dog. And she said, don't share this. And then she said, yeah, it's kind of funny. And the dog is handsome. You can go ahead and do it. My daughter's 8, by the way. And she asked about you, Janie. And I played her how you talked about Jack and Lily. And I showed her you talking in that interview. My daughter said, oh my God. Oh my God. That woman is scary. And she used witch and crow. Which, again, you know what? Let me say it like this to you. The way you speak about Jack and Lily, people will never forget that. They will never forget the heartless way that you spoke about these 2 missing children. People will never forget this, okay?
When we look back on it in months' time, you're going to recognize just how bad Janie gives herself away in all of this. She couldn't lie properly. She couldn't hold back. She's not her normal self. One, she's acting, and she's doing a poor job of it. And she's desperate. The desperate part isn't an act. But it's such a bizarre thing for her to be trying to talk to somebody and crying over a message It is so ridiculous, isn't it, Sweet Tea? That's what makes it intriguing, Janie. That's what keeps people coming back, trying to figure you out. Everybody knows that you're lying. And people are intrigued as to what that means. Well, it definitely has something to do with what happened to Jack and Lily. And the information that you're not coming forward with. Yet again, you've got a real history of not reporting crimes and felonies that occur on your property. Isn't that interesting? Wow.
And now I'm going to show another example in a minute, just how Janie is changing her intonation.
Facts of what's going on. Not the way we fucking live. That
She wants to be able to play the victim card, people. She wants to be in the category of victim. She wants to have immunity. And the only way she thinks she can get that.
Well, you would have to think just by looking at things that Janie choosing to have moved out of her trailer and Malaya and the kids moving in and taking over the space, she getting out of that situation tells me that there's a power offset there on the property. It shouldn't be you getting out of your own trailer when somebody else moves in. If there's an issue, it should be them moving the fuck out. And Janie probably doesn't disagree with me. If anybody, you should be living in Kent's old broken down RV in the driveway. Not Grandma. Not Janie. Like, how exactly does that work? No, I'm not that confused. That's the answer. It's a self-explanatory scenario. Janie, as much as nosy as she is, really doesn't physically have any of the power or control on that property. And everybody around there loves to rely on violence to get their points across. There's probably some fear between Janie and Daniel to a degree because she knows how unpredictable he is. She talked about how yelling is common state over there. Daniel's often yelling at Jack. And she never thought anything of it. Remember? That's one time. But Daniel talks about how they would only yell at one another and raise their voices when they were arguing. So here he's acknowledging the fact that there's problems going on already, and he's minimizing it. But yelling in that sense. Janie can hear all of that stuff. The stuff that needs to be ignored, that she turns another cheek from. So there's a form of elder abuse going on here as well. Would anybody else agree? Janie, being the elder, is a victim in all of this, a victim of Daniel's tirades and abuse and just lack of humanity in this situation, and digging themselves deeper and deeper to a point of the children are no longer alive. There's one person that's out of control on this property, and it's Daniel. And it's because of the substances that he was pumping into his system all of this time. The substance abuse problem that Malaya talked about in a message to Belinda about acknowledging, knowing about the day that she went in to be induced with Meadow, or before. That is a scenario that Janie is going to be ultra sensitive about. That's a scenario that is wrapped into the reason she's out there in an RV to begin with, talking vicariously through Tucker. She's in some sort of bizarro world out there. And a lot of it has to do with fear, I would expect. She's not really all that bright. But there's a reason maybe she really did put Daniel in her other Jordan. What's his other? Yeah, Jordan, isn't it? Daniel and what's his brother's name? And his brother on the title. Well, that would be a struggle that she's probably not going to win in the long run because she's getting older. But again, they probably coerced her to put their names on the deed to that portion of land. Justin, it's Jordan. I don't know why that was stuck in my mind. Thank you. My mind had a glitch. So there's a large, I believe, and part of this bullshit story and this need to help Daniel comes straight from fear. She doesn't want to have to deal with the embarrassment. She doesn't want to have to deal with the things that she's going through right now. She's got no choice. There's not going to be a positive outcome when it comes to not having an involvement for them. It's not going to turn out the way that they want. This is the things that they're hoping for. There's no fucking possible way that everybody on the property, the stories that they gave was anywhere acceptable for the investigators on scene. Had to stick out like a sore thumb to them. Doesn't matter if it was your first day or your 31st year.
Is by telling you how much she is suffering. But she doesn't realize that at the same time, the way she talks about Jack and Lily, it's victim blaming. I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry Janie, but you will never understand what it is I'm doing. And therefore, you will always be fighting what I'm saying. Because you yourself would ignore what I'm saying, because you wouldn't get it. You can ask your son, I think he gets it. You're making it worse. The same way you talked about, there are no kids here now, so why was I raking on Thursday? This doesn't work. Maybe that works in Lansdowne Station. Okay. It doesn't work in the real world, Janie. Come clean. Come clean. Come clean.
That's the problem. It's not about Jack and Lily anymore. You guys are saying that we are making a circus out of this.
I am not we. I am me. But she doesn't understand the difference between me and what some people do that so-called create content. You know what I mean? She doesn't know the difference. She doesn't know how much power her words hold. She doesn't understand what it means to actually analyze somebody's words. She assumes, as she says later, that I'm listening to other people and I'm blindly following them. That's not what I'm doing. I'm listening to you, Malaya, and Daniel. And I have more than enough.
They're not. It's the YouTubers that are making a circus out of this. And that's the problem. Nobody sticks to the facts. That's all you want to do is make fun of us. What is...
I did a couple of times, but, just when it really, really hits hard, man. When you really, really... Yeah, I did make fun when you actually admitted you were raking on Thursday night.
This sense in that. That has nothing to do with Jack and Lily. You guys make me out to be a fucking evil person, which I'm not. I have a fucking heart of gold. But you guys don't realize that. You know what it would be like if you were in our shoes, being accused of somebody killing kids, which we never did.
Never did? How about we didn't do? Always never.
And my friends, will end on that note. Fantastic clip from Janie McKenzie, meme level. I'm going to experiment on my mobile device with a couple of apps with that quote. If you guys are doing the same thing, making a meme out of Jamie in that statement, please send it to stepbystepexploringvideos@gmail.com and we'll post it on the community page. It'll be fantastic. Jeez. Friends, we'll come back same time again tomorrow night and we'll talk about Daniel and Janie again. We'll continue the beat. I'll leave you with some G-Funk, and I'm going to go and have my cold slice of pizza now, my friends. Thank you very much for joining us. All the super chats and all the subscribers and members, thank you. You guys make it worth doing. I'll see you back tomorrow.